Everyone, happy Tuesday. It's Dr. Bob coming to you with the latest episode of Bobcast. I apologize for being on later. I know that I said yesterday I'd be on at 8:30, but I had to take care of some things that were just a little bit more important that dealt with family and loved ones. So here we are though. Tonight this was a very important topic for me to go into, and so I didn't want to miss it, and I didn't want to do it as a pre-recorded video because of its importance. Now you can see by the title of tonight's Bobcast that the topic is What's Your Why? So let's recap real quick. Last week I asked you what you want, what you really want. What is your goal? Hi Ken, thanks for getting on so late. What's your goal? What do you really want in this life? And do you even really know what it is? Or are you just kind of wandering through life? I'm going to see if I can adjust this light a little bit. Are you just wandering through life, taking whatever life throws at you and then complaining about it, right? So that's what we talked about. So the second most important thing, actually they're both on equal footing. You have to know exactly what you want in this life, or you have no chance of getting it. Just as importantly, you have to know why you want it. When I have clients come and talk to me, I've had people come in and say, well, I kind of like to maybe lose a couple of pounds. And the first thing that I do is start asking them why, until we get to the point where they're passionate with their answer. Okay, because I think I may want to lose a couple of pounds is going to get you to the first time you run up against a chocolate cake and you have some and you're done, right? This is why New Year's resolutions don't work. They don't have a why behind them. So let's get into a little bit. I made a couple of notes because there's a couple of things that I really want to make sure that I stress to you. See, when you have a why, and it's a strong why, that's the difference between interest and commitment. See, when you're interested in something, you'll do it when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you'll do it no matter what it takes, right? I call those kind of goals going home goals. So if I explain it this way to some people, let's say you're at home, and it's winter here in Pennsylvania, right? So let's say you're at home and you decide you want to go out to dinner. And it's snowing and it starts to get heavier, and you're on the road and maybe there's an accident in front of you. Maybe you have a flat tire in the car. At some point, you're going to decide, I'll go to dinner another day, right? It's really just not that important. But let's take that same scenario. You're at the restaurant, you made it to dinner, and it's time to go home. And it starts to snow, and it gets heavier. And there's an accident in front of you. You have a flat tire. Is there any point that you're going to say, I'll just go home another day? Sounds ridiculous, but that's the analogy I like to use for people when I'm trying to describe going home goals. Your goals need to have a why attached to them that don't have any room for failure, that don't have any option but to succeed at that goal. And when you have a why, when you know why you want to achieve a certain goal, and it's a strong why, you are going to be more likely to succeed and achieve that goal. We've all heard stories of people doing amazing things like a mother lifting a car off of a baby, right? Things like that. Let's talk about a strong why. Life and death of your child. That's why those things happen, because those people are so laser focused on one thing, saving that life, doing whatever it takes, that they're able to accomplish amazing feats that the normal person couldn't do. Now that's a little bit of an extreme example, but that just goes to show you the importance of a why. Why do you want the things that you want? So last week, when we talked about goals, if you came up with some goals, this week, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look at those goals and ask yourself why you want them. And you're going to have to prioritize those goals. Because if you have a goal, like I mentioned earlier, it's, well, I'd kind of like to lose a couple of pounds. Scratch it off your goal list, because you're not going to go for it and you're not going to achieve it. All right. So I just want to, there's a couple of things I want to read these to you, okay? And these apply to why. The first one is that you may have to adjust your plan, but not your goal. So if you have a goal with an extremely strong why, and what you're trying to do to get there isn't working, you're going to try to figure another alternative way to get there. There's no debating that that goal is going to happen. How it's going to happen may change, but that it's going to happen won't change. And here's another great saying that I love by Mike Tyson. He said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, guess what life's going to do? Life is going to punch you in the mouth. It's going to happen. And if your goals aren't strong, and if your why is not there, when you get punched in the mouth, that plan's going to go right out the window. Remember what Rocky said? Life's a mean and nasty place, and it'll beat you to your knees and keep you there if you let it. But it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Yes, I know the Rocky movies because they're my favorites, but that is how winning is done. That's how winning is done in anything. You look at anyone who has succeeded in anything, whether it's an amazingly successful business person, whether it's an elite athlete, whether it's an actor or a musician, they have paid that price because it's what they wanted more than anything. We all get that little snapshot of that athlete up on the podium getting his gold medal, or that musician getting a Grammy award, or that business person, you know, like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, okay, or those guys who just mega successful. Well, they were laser focused on that success. We don't see all the blood, sweat, and tears that they went through in the background. We don't. It's kind of like that iceberg, right? We see that little tip, that success, and we all talk about how lucky they were that had that overnight success, quote unquote, right? That's not how it works. Those people were laser focused on what they wanted, and they had a really strong reason for getting there. Maybe it was getting out of poverty. Maybe it was getting out of a bad neighborhood, and the only way they could get out of that neighborhood was through sports, or whatever it might have been, right? Things are not going to go smoothly on your journey. Life will punch you in the mouth. And if you don't have a strong why for that goal, all right, again, you've got to have the goal, you've got to have the strong why. And if you don't have those two things together, with those two things, I can get you anywhere you want to be. But without those two things, you're not going to go anywhere. So, what is your why? Do you even know why you're doing what you're doing? Do you know why you want those goals that you say you want? Like I said, Rocky said, life's a mean and nasty place. Things are going to pop up. Things popped up for someone very important to me recently, just devastating. But she's going to get through them, and it's going to be all okay on the other side, because the goal and the why are there for getting to where she wants to be. It's a friend of mine, right? It's imperative that you have a goal and a strong why. A going home goal and a strong why will ensure your success, because there are going to be things that you just have to accomplish, those going home goals. I got to get home. There's no alternative. All right, I wanted to come on again. I'm sorry for coming on so late, but I wanted to make sure I came on, and I did this as a live. If you're on with me, thank you so much for tolerating the late broadcast. If you're not on with me and you're watching this later on, thanks for getting on and checking it out. As I said before last week when I started Bobcast back up, you can catch these on my YouTube channel. There'll be a link in the comment section below. My website is almost finished. It'll be active here in about the next week or two. So there'll be links on the website back to the YouTube channel, and from here and back and forth on all the social media that I'm on. I would greatly appreciate it if you would share these Bobcasts out. These are done for people who are trying to change something in their life. Those of you that have it all together and you got it going on, that's awesome, and thanks for being on if you're here. But there are people out there who might need to hear what I have to say. So share it out. You never know who needs to hear what I'm saying. Share it out. Keep the feedback coming too. I know I tell you that I always want to get feedback. I want to get topic suggestions and things like that, and I do. But the feedback is going to come in week after next, okay? These first 3 weeks are going to be dedicated to your goals. This week, your why. And next week, I'm going to show you why that excuse of I don't have the time is a bunch of bullshit. I'm just saying, right? So you can have those excuses or you can have those results. You can't have them both. So next week, again, after next week, though, topics are wide open. If you've got something that pops up that you want to hear talked about, please message me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, somewhere. You can get a hold of me 1,000 different ways, okay? So I'd love to hear the feedback. And again, please share these Bobcasts out so that we can help as many people get hold of their lives, take charge of it, design and live the life they want to live. Have a fantastic rest of your evening, a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week on the next edition of Bobcast. Thanks and good night.